I want to share with you a story that shook me. And it shook the people who were there at the moment that this happened. Approximately 7 years ago in Ireland, the university students there, the boys actually specifically, the men, they had a hiking survivalist type of camp or retreat in which they were trying to live off of the basic resources of nature. This was a really rough camp and they never did this again. As they were hiking the mountains, one of the brothers, I think 20 or 21 years old, he slipped, and when he fell, something punctured his body and he started bleeding out. Now he's bleeding out, they're in the middle of nowhere, and they don't know what to do. None of them are practiced physicians, none of them are certified to do anything. All they did was, as he's on the ground, they started putting pressure on the wound. And the one who's saying this to me, and he's almost crying as he's relaying this story, he said, we told him, everything will be okay, don't worry. He's bleeding out. You have no cell phone reception. You have nothing, nobody to help you. And as he's bleeding out and they're telling him, they're surrounding him, telling him everything will be okay, the one who's saying this to me said, I started worrying, what if this guy died right now? What if he actually dies? So he said, just in case, I told him to say, La ilaha illallah. A phrase that for you and I right now, you can say so lightly your lips don't have to move. La ilaha illallah. I know like half of you just tried it. La ilaha illallah. The phrase of salvation. The phrase of happiness and success. The phrase that the Prophet ﷺ and the messengers worked for, so you and I could say it today. La ilaha illallah. They told him, say La ilaha illallah. He did not respond. He said, can you hear us? He said, I can hear you. He said, just in case, say La ilaha illallah. No response. Can you hear us? I can hear you. Say La ilaha illallah. Why are you not saying La ilaha illallah? He remains silent for a moment, and then finally he opens his mouth and he says, for the last 6 months when I was alone in private, I did not pray a single prayer to Allah. And then he died. May Allah have mercy on him and use him as a lesson for everyone else. All his friends, his clique, his buddies, they started crying. Some of them said later on they struggled with these similar struggles. They struggled with other struggles. That moment was vivid. Why? Because you will die upon what you lived upon. And you'll be resurrected upon what you died upon, as the Prophet ﷺ informed us. How can you and I put in the effort today and never lose hope, so that at the moment our souls are departing from our bodies, we are able to say La ilaha illallah in a very powerful way, in a very clear way, not so others can witness it, but for ourselves. Because La ilaha illallah at the moment of death is something that you have to pay for. It's not free. Otherwise everyone would do it. It's something you have to live by. And it's something that causes us and requires us to exemplify La ilaha illallah throughout our lives by never giving up on returning to Allah, by never losing hope in the mercy of Allah.